I'm going to talk through a little bit about how to use Pokebattler. I find Pokebattler is a really good tool for working out very quickly what my best Pokemon are, and relatively speaking how fast they are and how many deaths they're going to have during the raid, so that I can just figure out really quickly what battle party to use. So I'm going to show you how I do this. A lot of people will say that Pokebattler is too complicated or it takes too long to upload all your Pokemon into your Pokebox. You can skip that stage and you can literally just use by level simulator, which gives you a list. So what I do, this is the main homepage, but at the top here we've got the current mega and legendary raids. So you can just click on Rayquaza and it will go straight to Rayquaza counters. So we can scroll down and it tells you straight away what it's weak to. So we can see already it's double weak to ice and only single weak to the other options. So we already know ice is going to be king here. We here have an estimator of how difficult the raid is going to be. And it says it should take 2 trainers with Pokemon of this strength. Now this strength is based on the settings, and those are set right down at the bottom here. Well, not at the bottom, but quite a long way down. So we have how to customize your raid. Now we can choose which boss we want. We can choose our dodge strategy. So do we want to dodge charge moves with Dodge Specials Pro, or do we want no dodging? I'm going to leave it on no dodging. We can choose by level or my Pokebox here, or somebody else's Pokebox if you're simming for a friend. By level is the quick way, so just leave it on that for now. And then you choose your Pokemon level. So if you have lots of things powered up to level 40, you can choose level 40. If you've got things at 50, choose 50. But this allows you to quickly customize to what's the kind of average level of Pokemon you're talking about. Yep. And then you can choose what weather you have. So extreme just means no weather boost at all, but you can customize your weather, and you can customize whether you think you're going to have a best friend in the battle, which you often do for raiding legendaries, right? So we can set all of this up. And then I'm going to leave these filters checked on for now, but you can also customize. If you don't have any shadow Pokemon powered up, you can just turn that off. That's how you can customize what shows up. And then we just click Find Best Raider and we scroll down. And here we go. We have the same toggle options. So if you wish to check without shadows or check without megas, you can do that from here as well. But here we go. So this is our counter list, and up here you can see it's set best attackers by time to win. You have lots of options, so if you sort it by potions, it will bring the tankiest thing to the top that will live the longest. Time to win means it will bring the fastest things to the top, and that's how I would recommend you set it for the bulk of your raiding. I almost never use any other setting. So time to win, faster to the top. You can also, if you know the moveset you're going to be fighting, you can choose that, or you can just leave it on unknown and it will kind of average them. So I'm going to put this onto probably the easiest moveset. It ranks these. So Dragon Tail Aerial Ace, it's saying that's the overall on average easiest moveset, and that Outrageous is the hardest, which we kind of know, right? Outrageous is hard. And here we go, we've got the results. So it's telling us Shadow Mamoswine is the absolute best counter at level 40 when you're not dodging versus that moveset. That would be the case versus all the movesets. It's an incredibly strong Pokemon. And now I'll take you through the information that's included in this small square, because you have a lot here. So what it's telling you, you've got a little skull symbol and it says 15. That means that across the whole raid, 15, if you're all using Shadow Mamoswine, it will take 15 deaths before it can beat the Rayquaza. That's divisible by the number of players you have, as are all these stats. So the time to win is also saying it's 286 seconds. You have 300 seconds to beat a legendary raid. So this is actually saying that's all you need. One person could beat it if they had enough Shadow Mamoswines and could rejoin fast enough and nothing went wrong at all, right? So if something is under 300 seconds, it means that it can do the raid alone. If it's between 300 and 600, because you would divide by 2, if you had 2 trainers, that's saying you can duo it. Right, so most of these Pokemon you can see are absolutely fine. They're between 300 and 600 seconds time to win. That means that you can do Rayquaza with only 2 players if you use these Pokemon at level 40. And as you can see, these are all ice types until we come down to Shadow Salamence down here. Oh, I think we also have, we have Shadow Mewtwo as well, but that's a pseudo ice type. So yeah. The 16 fastest Pokemon are all Ice or Shadow Mewtwo, and Shadow Salamence is the first dragon Pokemon using dragon moves. So this just really proves that Ice types are king here. Further down, we've got Mega Salamence, Mega Gardevoir, Mega Latios. So as you can see, Mega Latios, it's got 5,000 CP. You might think that that's an awesome option to use. You get the extra XL candy for having it mega evolved if it's level 3. But what this list is saying is that it's barely better than using a Vanillux in terms of the time to win, right? It dies 19 times versus 22 for the Vanillux, and it's only 3 seconds faster. So for all that CP, it's actually not doing that much work, and you're just much better using ice types. Even Glaceon here. Glaceon has less deaths than the Mega Latios, and it's just hugely faster. We are at 368 seconds, so that's 1 and a bit trainers. That's really fast. It's perfectly acceptable to use a Glaceon. It'll do a really good job here. Regular Mamoswine, again, really strong. And Shadow Mamoswine is king. So this is the bi-level simulation in Pokebattler. It's not a full-scale simulation. You can access that from this screen. But what it gives you really quickly is just a top 30. What are the best Pokemon in my situation, right? And I think that that's often all you need, is just to say what's the best, what are the top 6 best options. Do I have those? If I don't have those, I'll scroll down and I can see exactly how good or bad the things that I own already are in this raid. Do I need to build something, or do I just need to TM something? So you might already have a Weavile, but it might currently have dark moves. So oh, if I just swap that to ice, then it'll be a really good counter. And it's also telling you, don't worry about powering up your dragons for Rayquaza or fairies or rock types, where you can just use ice if you have ice mons already. So that's a really quick tour of the bi-level settings in Pokebattler. I'm just going to very quickly show you how you can access a more detailed sim. So if you click on the 3 lines here, this brings up all of the different movesets that Mamoswine has. Now obviously you want to use the double ice moveset, which is listed at the top here, and if you click on that, it brings you through to a dedicated screen. Now this extra trainers feature box this is just confusing matters. So I always click run as a solo attempt because it just removes any additional noise from the simulation. Now this is telling me what would happen if I were to attempt a solo Rayquaza just using level 40 Shadow Mamoswines with a best friend boost on it, because this obviously makes no sense. But what it's telling me is that actually I would need 16 Mamoswine, and that each one would do, it's telling me that the first Mamoswine here does 903 damage to the Rayquaza out of its 15,000 HP. And that's why I need just over 15, right? Because they're doing just under 1,000 each. So this is telling me how the raid would go with my first 6, and then obviously they die and I would need to revive. But this is how you can see how the battle might go. And obviously we're not trying at this point to solo Rayquaza. We know that's very hard unless you have snowy weather, and you're not going to do it with level 40 Shadow Mamoswines because they die too much. But what it's showing is what would happen, and that gives you a guide as to how many trainers you might need. So if you know that you have a friend who has some Shadow Mamoswine, you have Shadow Mamoswine, you know you're going to be able to do it, just the 2 of you, with no problem whatsoever. Yeah. And then if you click back, you can get back to your overall list. Another thing I should mention is hidden down here, we actually have Rayquaza raid guides. So you can see Pokebattler have already done the work for you, and they've just listed what are the top options, and kind of condensed it into an infographic for you, and you can download these from the site as well. So if you wanted to share information with your local friends, then obviously you can do that as well from here. So I hope that was useful. Ask me any questions in the comments and I will help you out. I'll put an answer up there when I get time. Cool.